When the overall economy is slowing down, there are some parts of it that still do well. Films are one example. People, of course, are out looking for low-cost entertainment alternatives. And for those making film, it's also an opportunity to cut costs and try new things. It's exactly what they're up to at Vitality Media Productions with the new film, The Insignificance of Harvey. Jeff Kopas is a writer, director, and producer at Vitality Media. Great to have you with us.
Thanks for having me.
Let's talk about the film and the sort of concept behind it. You're trying to do something that's a little bit different here.
It's a little bit different. I mean, we're tweaking the wheel, I think, might be the best way to put it. You know, I mean, it's certainly a low-budget, small Canadian independent film. But, you know, I think our biggest coup is we've been able to get just so much in-kind services. Which is really a testament to the industry and to and everyone else. And the economy, in that sense, has really helped us because they're not as busy, and so it's easier for us to beg. And they see a good project and they're willing to get behind you, which is great.
Tell us a bit about the film. How low budget and what's this film about?
Sure, it's about a little person who's a janitor at a ski resort. So it's very quirky and funny. It's a drama, but it's sort of like Juno mixed with The Big Lebowski and a bit of The Station Agent, if that's a reference for people.
And when you talk about things in kind, what's sort of an example of how you're bartering or negotiating?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've got a few different ways that we're doing it. So we have, straight in-kind donations from companies like Panavision and, Absolute and, William F. White's and different production entities that are, huge names within the industry all over the world. And they take, maybe one or two projects like us on a year, and they'll support you. And they, it's very wonderful, and they sort of think that we have potential as filmmakers, and so they go, we'll get behind you, and we'll give you, these hundreds of thousands of in-kind goods just to help you out.
Do you have to give them anything in return? Do you have to show their products in the film, that kind of thing?
I mean, no. I mean, as far as in-kind services go for equipments and that type of thing, no. I mean, certainly we have, we have beer sponsors and vodka sponsors, and that's product placement, and that's,
that's par for the course these days.
Par for the course it is, and we're not, we're not reinventing the wheel. The difference there is, maybe we're getting more free product instead of, cash.
So what is this film costing you? What's the actual budget?
I can't give you the actual budget. That's a filmmaker trick, but it's not. I mean, it's under, it's under $1 million, and that includes in kind. So, we're actually doing it with a program called TIP, which is Toronto Independent Productions, and it means that it's under $125,000 for actual production, yeah, so it's pretty low in cash.
I want to talk about how you measure success. I mean, you've been an independent filmmaker for a few years, which is clearly one measurement of success. You're not working in a restaurant.
Exactly.
But how do you measure it in our country, relatively small country? What does that mean exactly?
Absolutely. Well, I think for a film of this budget, if we get a international theatrical release, that would be exceedingly successful. Yeah. If we get an international broadcast license, if it plays in different broadcasters around the world, again, that would be very successful. If it doesn't do either of those, then it becomes like many of the films that are made here and all over the world. And that's certainly not our intention, and not the investors, the cash investors we do have. That's certainly not the intention.
Do you get paid either way, though? I mean, as the co-founder of Vitality, director, writer?
No, I mean, Vitality Media, Asher Films Limited is sort of the name of the company for this particular film, and absolutely not. I mean, it's an incorporated company. We have a share structure like any other company. Yeah. I am 100% deferred, as is my producer and a lot of our crew. And no, if the film is not sold and doesn't do decently, no one gets paid.
So how do you try and sell a film like this? Do you go to the different festivals? Do you go to the different places like that, try and get free exposure that way? Or do you go to a television outlet? I'm just curious the whole process of trying to get this thing broadcast.
It's a great question, and there's not a totally straight answer to it. Our strategy is to hopefully premiere at the Toronto International Film Festival. That would be incredible. And at that point, we would be in a really great position to then sign with a distributor.
Because that's kind of like a trade show in many
respects. It is. It's one of the best ones in the world. And what a lot of films do, though, that we haven't done, is they actually sign a Canadian broadcast agreement beforehand. And you'll get, between $50,000, let's say, to $100,000 just for the Canadian rights. And when you then get a distributor on board, they kind of take those on as well. And that tends to be the system. The distributor will take 50% of, and and the rest is divided up between whatever's left.
Is that still, it seems to me a few years ago that was the bottleneck in the industry. The distributor was sort of you can make a lot of money showing films.
Yeah.
The distributor is really the reason why filmmakers aren't getting rich. Is that still true? You can't do it without them, obviously.
You know, a lot of people think you can. A lot of people think you can self-distribute and do that type of thing. It's not a route that I want to take, certainly with this film.
Yeah.
They hold a very valuable place.
Are there examples of successful films that have been self-distributed we can think of?
Off the top of my head, no, and maybe that's a good answer. Yeah, just putting you on the spot. But I would say even the ones that have been self-distributed end up actually getting a proper distributor.
How's it going, the film industry in Canada? Because I hear there's some great films coming out of Quebec. There's that one now,
Amazing.
I Swear I Didn't Do It, and this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
What's it like elsewhere in Canada?
Yeah, Quebec is leading the charge, not just in creative, but in the success that they're having. Quebec has a star system. It's almost like its own country within our country. So it's very difficult to even pretend to compete against them. Quebecers go to see Quebec films. You know, they have stars there that are in Quebec. We don't have that in the rest of Canada. And the film industry is I mean, it's going well. It's strong. It's still. I mean, you know, there's little guys like me who are able to pull off these. It's a miraculous film when any one of these things gets made. It's this low budget. There's no doubt about it. But there's a lot of me out there. You know, I'm not the only guy. And there's about 4,500 films, feature films made a year internationally. Maybe 250 of those actually do well. It's a very high risk game.
You're shooting in Collingwood. Are you still looking for extras?
Yeah, the Insignificance of Harvey.com is one of our grassroots way that we've sort of gone around raising some money. So we have a certain amount of union background, and then we're allowed by the union to use a certain amount of non-union. And for those, for the price of $100, you get to be a producer donor credit, and you get to be an extra in the film.
Oh. Excellent. All right. Well, you never know. People might write in.
I know.
Appreciate you being here, Jeff.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Jeff Kopas, it's director, writer, producer of Vitality Media Productions. Coming up, we're opening up the mailbag. We've got your thoughts on everything from shells to science and giving it all away after this.